Welcome back to Dewan Pundit Indonesia, English version. Let's turn our attention to La Liga, where Real Madrid is steadily catching up with Barcelona at the top of the table, and the dynamics are shifting. There's so much to unpack here from Real Madrid's perspective, with Tchouaméni back and Camavinga soon to follow. Does this mean Los Blancos can finally feel secure? What do you think, Mas Firzi?
Yeah, Tchouaméni come back after a month out. Yeah, even though his last game was a disaster clash against Milan, but yeah, with him coming back, Ancelotti, he says, has already said that Aurelien has shown his usefulness at defensive level as a center back or a pivot, and especially how Tchouaméni can give height to Real Madrid's defense because they need that, because it's not exactly the biggest team, Real Madrid now. So yeah, even without Tchouaméni back, I think Ancelotti also gave a high regards to Raul Asensio. He steps up nicely. Ancelotti says Asensio in these 4 games, he is a center back to be trusted, who does not lack knowledge of the position. But yeah, with Camavinga out and it's just rolling doors for Real Madrid. One player injured, one player come in. I got maybe the impression is he's being accelerated to come back in during this busy part of the season. That's just the way it is with football right now. Every team, every Champions League team, especially with more amount of games, the injuries will be mounting up. I mean, you look at how Aston Villa struggle in the domestic leagues. Juventus with all the injuries coming in. Liverpool last season with the injuries. Yeah, especially Man City with their injuries. So yeah, I think it's looking good. But yeah, without Eder Militao and Dani Carvajal, David Alaba still coming back also maybe next year or so. But yeah, having Tchouaméni, World Cup, a player who plays in the World Cup, so it must be a big boost for them.
On the flip side, Barcelona's form in La Liga seems to be slipping as well. But we just had a win last night. We just had a pretty huge win, 5-1.
With Lamine Yamal's return. It coincides with the form of Barcelona picking up. For Tchouaméni, a great addition for Real Madrid, playing in that midfield. But I like Asensio. I like him. I like the confidence. I like the way he wins duels. I think he has a bright future for Real Madrid, and he's with a perfect coach in Ancelotti. And I hope he keeps his place, although a lot of players are coming back from injury. But I think he is in with a shout to become one of the young talents that Madrid will trust in that back line.
Yeah, I think he's the guy who gave that assist for Bellingham, right? His vision to give his vision and technical ability to pull off that raking forward pass. Not a lot of player can do what he did.
Yeah, and Rudiger is playing like with a bit more. He's on a chaotic side of defending, but Asensio is more calm, and he can provide that calmness and to make Rudiger a lot more better.
They need that kind of guy, you know. But I think it's overall they're doing. It feels like that loss in the El Clasico doesn't matter now in La Liga. You know, they've turned the tables. Now they're chasing Barcelona with, I think Barcelona are 2 games ahead, and they're just like missing. Correct me if I'm wrong. 4 or 3 points left. So I think it's starting to click back for Ancelotti and Real Madrid. Of course, I don't think there's any team that are free of injuries right now with all the fixtures, as Firzi said. So, again, it's the Real Madrid DNA. Bellingham is starting to click back, and you see Kylian Mbappe is playing on the wide now instead of just the center, and it's working out for him as well. So they're going in the right direction, it seems.
Speaking of linking up, do you think Ancelotti has found the perfect formula for Mbappe, finally?
No, I think it's just accidental.
Because Vinny's injured.
So Kylian can play in that front line a bit more freer with a license to roam, cutting from license from Rome.
But it was accidental, though.
I like accidental, though. But it is.
Yeah. If you don't have that main guy on the left, and then you turn to your maybe his preferred position, starting from the left side, cutting inside. If that doesn't work for you, then it's time for you to move for Kylian Mbappe. But it's working now. He's playing better, and he's starting to get that confidence. And now maybe he's talking a lot with Jude Bellingham as well, because Bellingham was playing very poorly when Mbappe was struggling as well. So now they're trying to find the best solution, situations where both can perform well for Real Madrid.
Okay, one other problem that in the offensive line that Ancelotti still needs to sort is Enric. because Hendrik he only plays like 29 minutes of action in the last 9 games, despite the troubles that Real Madrid has in the front line. So the problem from the perspective of journalists from the Spanish media Cadena Ser, they think that Ancelotti has a deeper problem with Hendrik, especially more than what's in the pitch. I think it's what Hendrik do or do not in the training ground, because he's very confrontative about Hendrik. He said in the press conference, Hendrik will play when I think he's the ideal player to win the game. It's a big shout out for one so young as him, like 18 years old. I think he's shown that he can be a good player. He scored 2 goals, I think, in the start of the season. I think greatly taken goals also. But I think there's more to it than meets the eye. There's more to it than what we saw in the games. With the forward line struggling and Hendrik is not there as a solution, maybe he just needs time, or maybe a time away on a loan or something.
I think it's the consistency problem here for Hendrik. Because in certain games for Real, he can show his qualities. For Brazil, for instance, at the game against England in Wembley, he was brilliant. But he can't show that.
Then the Uruguay game where
the Uruguay game as well. When he comes in the last few matches, it doesn't look like he knows what he has to do on the pitch.
Exactly.
So it's problematic for a player with a very young age. But again, Ancelotti is a very good coach, and if Ancelotti doesn't like a few things from a up and coming player, so then the player himself has to recheck, reevaluate, and see the perfect solution. Because if Ancelotti criticizes you, then you are the problem, not Ancelotti.
Exactly.
Do you think he should go on a loan first, or which one do you think is the better solution?
To Wolverhampton Wanderers.
No, but I saw a quote the other day. Funny that you ask.
So young.
I saw a quote by Louis Barry, who used to play at La Masia in Barcelona, is now at Stockport. He said that his advice is that if you get an option to go on a loan as a younger player, just take it. Even then, if it's for a crap, I shouldn't say crap, but a crap side,
in the MLS.
Because
our goalkeeper plays in the MLS.
But anyways, you'll get a lot of experience through adversity and everything. So I think if that opportunity arises, go on loan is good. But at the same time, there's such a wealthy experience, even just being in practice with those guys. I think it's a good, interesting option if that is so.
Before we focus to Barcelona, last question about Real Madrid is, with everyone fit, everyone's making a comeback, how strong is Real Madrid's squad compared to Barcelona right now?
Much more stronger with the experience that they have. But sometimes they struggle if 1, 2, 3 players are injured. Barcelona keeps on coming up with fresh young talents from La Masia. So I think if all the players are fit, Real can win the championship. But if, for instance, let's say Camavinga gets injured again, Tchouaméni gets injured, or Mbappe maybe, or Bellingham, it's going to be a bit problematic for them to catch up with Barcelona.
But I think when the player got fit, I think the original problem will surface again, how to play Mbappe. It's happening all over again. I think with Vinny out of the picture for temporary, I think it's good for Mbappe to finally try to find his feet in the offensive line. But I think even though all of them are fit, I think there's still a big gaping hole there on who can replace Toni Kroos, because that's one area that they did not fix during the summer. They opted to bring in Mbappe, like shooting their own foot. Like they have a perfect combination up front with Vini, Rodrigo playing the split strikers, with Bellingham coming in from the number 10. But Real Madrid being Real Madrid, Adi said in the previous episode, they have to get that player, that caliber of player. But in the meantime, I think they will still struggle before they find that replacement for Kroos. And in the meantime, someone who can take the burden of Modric, because at, I don't know what, 39. Actually, he's still captaining the team at Anfield. So maybe it's time for regeneration on that end also.
Yeah. Okay, shifting to Barcelona. Some people are asking the same question, I noticed. Are Barcelona overly dependent on players like Gavi and Pedri to control games?
I don't think it's just Pedri and Gavi. I think there's a lot of holes in their depth, to be honest. You have Lewandowski, who doesn't have a backup that is as hungry on the goal for him. I mean, they won last night 5-1.
5-1.
And I think Lewandowski didn't even play or just played a bit.
He's on the bench.
On the bench, right? Yeah. That worked out. But there's that hole where it's filled in, like, for example, in the midfield, filled by a lot of young players. They have a very, very young core, and it could lack experience at times, even though how talented they are. And then you have that Lamine Yamal effect. Where's the creativity if he's not there? We've seen that they're struggling with the creativity. Rafinha can go into that place, but he's mainly better, for Barcelona at least, at that left wing position, where he can outrun the enemies instead of just playmaking on the right. So it's not just Pedri and Gavi. I think Pedri plays a huge role in the midfield and creating chances. But they're also, I think Araujo and Christensen's also injured, and then you have Ter Stegen injured. So there's a lot of different roles that needs to be filled with experience and depth. So,
what do you think, Adi? What do you
that
think is causing
midfield,
the
I
drop?
think, is a bit problematic for Hansi Flick in Barcelona as well. Frenkie de Jong is an enigma for Barcelona. He's not performing as when he was a great star for Ajax, but last night he did very well. They need Dani Olmo, because Dani Olmo is the spark in that midfield, adds the balance and experience as well. Without Lamine Yamal, they lack creativity, and I think it's a problem for them if Lamine is not playing. There's a drop of performance where you hope and you think that Rafinha can take over, but it's very difficult for Rafinha to fill that role. So this is again a problem that maybe they have to find a solution by getting another player, because I think, again, if Real Madrid's squad is fit against a fit Barcelona head-to-head, I still think that Barcelona are a couple of players short. But Real has that experience and has all the players that can get through that hump. And the blip is already been faced by Real Madrid. But for Barca, that blip that they have a couple of games ago, I don't think they have recovered, because in the game against Mallorca, how they concede is always the same with that high risk, high line. The problems are still there, but luckily for them, they have the likes of Torres firing all cylinders, Rafinha playing very well. So again, in terms of the quality of the players, I think Barcelona, with the age profile that they have now, is a bit short in terms of going down the stretch head-to-head with Real Madrid. Hansi Flick.
Hansi Flick said that he's happy that, in his own words, shitty November has gone, because they dropped 8 points in the league in the last 3 matches before Mallorca, because Barcelona only won La Liga. One La Liga match in all of November, including the humiliating loss against Las Palmas. It cannot be underestimated how bad that loss was, because it's on the anniversary of the 125th year. It was Las Palmas also first victory
I think they were
Barcelona since
much.
1971. A bit of a hangover, I think, from the players. And it's the first home defeat of Barca under Hansi Flick. So the Madrid-based media give the headline of, when you prepare a fiesta, it tends to end in a funeral. So it's a bit, kejam juga dari from this Madrid-based media, as it should be between Madrid and Catalan media. But Hansi Flick said they created 27 chances against Las Palmas. It's not that they cannot create chances.
It's like West Ham.
It's like against
they created 31
against who?
Crystal Palace.
No.
It was Leicester.
Leicester,
Leicester game,
but
21 chances.
21 chances against Las Palmas.
10 on target.
You still remember that?
One goal.
One goal. But they created only 2.3 xg. 2.3 xg is they supposed to at least score 2 goals against Las Palmas, but against Mallorca they managed to create 4.9 xg and they scored 5, which is on par with the number of high quality chances that they created. But the positive side is scoring 5 goals without the Pichichi on the field, without Lewandowski. Flick said that he wanted to give him a rest because he started like 20 out of the 20 games before this is in like 37 now, 36, 37. I mean, that's a lot of load of games for a player as himself. Yeah, so great way to respond from the bad November that Flick has.
Shitty November.
Shitty November, yeah.
His own words.
Bleep that out, please.
In his own words.
Yeah, I think it's
shitty
okay.
November.
Gary
And
said once
that's
it's
kind of
okay.
true.
Yeah.
It has been quite shitty for
Mm.
Barcelona.
It's shitty for Man City.
Shitty
Shitty for most teams then,
Yeah.
I think. What do you think is the most possible solution? Adi stated something from his perspective, but what about you? Do you think is there any easier solution that Hansi Flick could have in terms of making things better with Barcelona?
Yeah, no, I think it's about how he rotated the squad. I mean, I think the previous one when he heavily rotated, I think the Osasuna game or something. I think he learned from that. I think he made too many changes on that.
Yeah.
And Frankie de Jong against Las Palmas, he was booed by the fans. I think that's an indication of how the mood in the stadium, the Barcelona fans towards him. Even though they said he increases his performances against Mallorca. But I think there's only 1 year left on his contract. He's also playing for his future. I think he needs more to prove himself because he's the guy. I mean, he's the guy that's supposed to bring Barcelona to that stratospheric level with the way he plays, how he controls the midfield for Ajax. Maybe with the coming times, maybe with a more intelligent rotation, maybe we can see more better version of Barcelona.
Anything to add, Kiko, before we wrap up the segment?
I think it still comes back to depth in terms of how many players can cover each other and, somebody to actually tutor these younger core. There's the January transfer window coming up and hopefully they can bring somebody in to do that role.
That's the problem with Barcelona. The
forgot about
They
that.
need to
Forgot about that.
grab the lever again, economic
Ka-ching,
lever.
ka-ching.
They need to sell the future.
Forgot about that. Okay, well, something similar. Something similar.
Still, if let's say Real, they have a problem with finding a replacement for Toni Kroos, and they can look in the Serie A and see Milan has Tiani Reinders. They can go and get him. And if Real wants somebody, they can get him. But for Barcelona, it's a different situation.
It's somebody from the academy.
They have to go from within again.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very difficult.
Not the best route, as they already have a younger core. Don't want to make that younger, in my opinion. So.
Well, I think that's it from Barcelona and Real Madrid, but we still have a lot to discuss, so please stay tuned only on DPI English.